Hi everyone, my name's Kayla and welcome back for another week of Monster Munchies. The theme this week is drink pairings, and I am a big fan of tea, so I'm going to be making my favorite cookie to go with tea, although calling it a cookie, I guess, is probably wrong if you're British. I'm going to be making chocolate digestive biscuits, which are a not so sweet chocolate covered biscuit that is really popular over in England for drinking with tea. So let's give it a shot. So for this recipe, I'm going to start with 4.5 ounces of all-purpose flour into the bowl of my food processor. I'm also going to add to that 2 ounces of whole wheat flour, which totally means that these are healthy. I'm also going to add 2 1/4 ounces of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and an 1/8 teaspoon of kosher salt. Oh geez, way too much. Also, since my grocery store apparently doesn't sell buttermilk, I'm going to add a tablespoon of buttermilk powder, and at the point in the recipe where it calls for buttermilk, I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of water. But if you actually have buttermilk on hand, it's just a 1/4 cup of buttermilk that will be added later. The last thing I'm going to add to my food processor before we get pulsing is 4 ounces of cubed up cold butter. And once all the ingredients are in here, we can snap on the lid and get this party started. I'm going to pulse this all together until I get a nice coarse crumbly mixture. And once that's looking nice and crumbly, I'm going to put in my 1/4 cup of buttermilk. And then I'm going to pulse that together until it's a damp, crumbly mixture. And when it looks like it's starting to come together, I'm going to take it out and knead it on the counter. And I'm going to turn this out on the counter and knead it by hand until it comes together as one dough ball. Once my ball has come together into a nice uniform lump, I'm going to flour up my counter and my rolling pin and roll these out to 1/4 inch thickness. Once I have these rolled out to a 1/4 inch thick, I'm going to use a cookie cutter to make my circles. So I'm going to use my 2 3/4 circle cookie cutter and then line them up on the baking tray. And once you've rolled out one cookie tray full, you can roll out the scraps and make some more. And once you have a tray full of these, you can poke them with a fork to dock them a little bit so they don't rise unevenly. And then these go in a 350-degree oven for about 18 minutes. So I just took my second tray of these out of the oven. Now I'm gonna wait and let them cool completely. You could be done here. You could just have plain digestive biscuits, or you can coat them in chocolate. So once these are completely cool, I'm going to temper some chocolate and I'll meet you there. So now I'm going to temper my chocolate. I have 9 ounces of dark chocolate in this bag. I'm using a method of tempering that's new to me. It's a technique that I found off of the Serious Eats website. So I'm using my immersion cooker, which most of you probably won't have at home. If not, you can temper your chocolate using the normal double boiler seeding method, but I'm gonna try this out and see how it works. So I'm heating up my water bath to 115 degrees, and once it's there, I'm gonna stick this bag in there and let it melt, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna lower this in, and it'll melt in like 5 minutes or less, I believe. And it's best if you have a vacuum sealer for this. I don't. I'm using a Ziploc bag, so I'm holding on to it just because I'm kind of paranoid that water's gonna get into it, and water is really bad if you're trying to temper chocolate. So once you can feel that the chocolate in your bag has melted all the way, you're going to change the temperature down to 81 degrees. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna add ice water to try to bring the temperature of the water down as quick as I can. Get some more cold water. Unfortunately, my ice maker does not work, which doesn't really help me. So once you get the temperature down to 81 degrees, you're going to bring it back up to 90 degrees. And as your bath is heating up to 90 degrees, you're going to agitate the chocolate every minute or so. Give it a little squish. And then once your bath heats up to 90 degrees, you can hold the chocolate there until you are ready to use it. So when you are ready to start decorating, take your baggie of tempered chocolate out of the pot and make sure you dry it off well, because if water hits tempered chocolate, it seizes up and gets all gross. I'm gonna unplug this because I don't think I'm gonna need to hold it any further. And to decorate my biscuits, I'm just gonna snip the corner off of this bag and squeeze some on. So for each one, I'm gonna squeeze a decent blob, like a half tablespoon or so. Give them some good chocolate. And then I'm going to spread it out with my little knife. Right up to the edges of the biscuit. And then for a little bit of a decorative flair, I'm just gonna bounce my fork against it so I get these little ridges in the chocolate. And then I'm just gonna do the same thing to all of them. And once you're done decorating all of your biscuits, you gotta wait until the chocolate is done and then they're ready to eat. So I'm just gonna clean up my hands and put the kettle on. So now it's tea time. I have a caramel shortbread tea and 2 of my biscuits. One is a store-bought one. I don't know which ones look better. These do look really good though. Although I did realize that I put chocolate on the wrong side. Whoops, but they will taste good nonetheless. The chocolate tempered well, it's nice and shiny. Shinier than Mr. Store-Bought biscuit even, I'd say. They have a nice crunch to them. Oh my god, I think that's actually better than the store-bought ones. Like the biscuit itself has this like really nice caramely taste to it. Man, these are good. Try them. Oh. And here's our favorite guy. Say hi. Say hi. I know you're upset that you can't eat the cookies this week because they have chocolate. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Monster Munchies. Bye! Look at those. Those are good.